Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to PGPYT, and today we're going to be talking about the fact that a recent statement came out saying that Microsoft tried to buy out Nintendo, EA, and SquareEnix about 20 years ago when the original Xbox was going to launch. Um, we're going to give my opinions on it. First of all, my response is simply people didn't notice. Like, it's kind of obvious that Microsoft were always looking at buying out game studios and game publishers and developers out a few Xbox because, as Nintendo said about Microsoft in 2016, uh, Microsoft understands the hardware, not necessarily the software. They struggle with games, but they're great at making these powerful consoles, which obviously I agree with. I agree with 100% because let's be fair. If you're not a fan of Gears of War, Halo, or Forza, Xbox doesn't really have much for you at the minute. I know that's going to change because obviously Bridgeport and ZeniMax have bought all these studios to work on all these games. But if we're speaking about realism, they're not. Microsoft has money. Microsoft has money to do it, but they never really had the best lineup of games. If you were into like certain genres and whatnot, like if you say you're an RPG fan for Xbox, admit what is there to play that's not a third party game? Because they all the big RPG games were like third party this gen for them. And there was no Fable. There was no. That's really it. There was no Fable. But now next gen, well this gen, we're gonna get new in Exile. We're gonna get a bunch of Bethesda ones. It's gonna be great. And I know they did fill up Game Pass and whatnot, but Microsoft really struggled with first party content because let's be fair, Gears of War, Halo, and Forza, they're great games and all, but they're not gonna be everyone's tastes. What if someone wants a family friendly kids platformer? You can't get that on Xbox unless you go third party. What if they wanted I don't know, real time strategy game? Yeah, I know they're working on Age of Empires 4 and they just released Gears Tactics for Halo Wars for a while. But say you're not a fan of Halo Gears of War, are you gonna play Gears Tactics in Halo Wars? No, of course not. So I'm seeing all these people freak out about, oh, Microsoft tried to buy out EA and Square Enix and Nintendo laughed them out of the room. Well, yeah, I'm not surprised. No wrong. If you look at my channel, you notice that obviously I've made a lot of videos about Xbox and about how I like the platform and whatnot. How this video is literally contains footage of Gears of War. I can't remember which Gears of War games was. This footage is quite old, but I do know that you know I do. I've always thought growing up on Xbox as well. Like yeah, I do own a Game Boy Advance and a bunch of Nintendo handhelds as well as a PSP. But I always like my always go-to platform was the Xbox. So to hear this, I'm just kind of like thinking like, yeah, you guys are freaking out about this. I don't see why people are freaking out. It's just another day at the office because was already worth a lot of money. They were worth hundreds of billions when this sort of happened, and now they're worth but I think it's like 1.7 trillion or something like that. They're worth a lot, so they could have, and they recently bought Bethesda and whatnot. And I'm just kind of surprised people are only just realizing now that Microsoft is a really big company, and they tried to do this before because they always struggled with making games. That's why they brought so many developers in, and they're going, "Yes, you work on this game, you do whatever you want." And they're giving them blank checks, saying, "Look, make a game. Don't care what genre, just make a game, make it good, and try and get people to come and play on our systems." And that's what I respect, because obviously they're just trying to get their games out there, trying to get more games made because they've always struggled with that, and they want to give you a reason to buy an Xbox or a PC or whatever you play on. Yeah. So these are just my thoughts. I hope you I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what your opinion in the comments down below is, and I'll talk to you all in the next one. You